In today's world, trade is the largest of global markets supply chains, which includes competing brands, quality standards, movement of goods across borders, business regulations, cutting-edge skills and services. All these activities match up to make a difference. What is behind the headlines? What impact does it actually have on people's daily lives? How can we develop programs that will support countries to get ahead on trade? Trade activities are getting people to act on the agenda of improving trade globally. Agencies and development partners are supporting countries in their roadmaps for change. It's building strong foundations and helping governments bridge to more support. Business Focus takes a closer look at every step involved in the aspect of trade, from identifying, buying, selling, and distribution of goods and services to various parts of the world. Find out from the people themselves what is happening in the daily trading activities and how they go through the hurdles in achieving greatness, from the fields, factories, gardens, markets, and to the consumer.
Well, Fambo, welcome again to Star Television, Channel 21, and this now Business Focus. Well, as we know, as we tell now, the last time that the program, the essence of now for bring things way that happen at the trade in terms of business in the country. And as we all know, the Ministry of Trade now that they regulate and also they do the necessary things and follow the trade way for move in the country. As we know, say with the trade, that they boosting and able for make the economy everybody go be satisfied. Well, today we deal with the person where the government give the sole mandate for like go run the ministry. We not to know other less a person but the minister himself. Minister, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you will start for tell Fambolem your name and the position as well, just rightly introduce you.
Dr. Edward Hingasandi, the Minister of Trade and Industry.
Okay. Well, Fabul, as another year from the minister in this world, so today we can talk on the things where people them don't get doubt on in terms of price and other things how they will for control them. So stay tuned as we bring the full interview to now.
Never mind what folks are saying, that my love isn't true. I know I love you, you love me too.
Take me for what I am, darling, right or wrong. I do love you, baby.
We've got something in common, darling. I love you, yes I do. I know my honey, it is true.
Take me.
Family, welcome again to the program. As the minister don't introduce himself, we go into the discussion proper. Mr. Minister, in the first place, let me know what's in the mandate of the ministry itself.
Well, the ministry get a broad range of mandates. One, now we then ensure say we're able to communicate with the private sector and we able to give them the kind of environment where we will make them able to do business. So we key responsibility now for ensure say we able create an enabling environment for make businesses that able to do well in the country, and also for create the necessary environment for make we own business people then Salonia able to get access to market at the international community. We also they look at regulations. We get a couple of things and we would ensure say waiting with people and they buying at this country in day of quality, and we also they make sure say the people then with the trade not really ask people then for pay prices way we the way above waiting is supposed to actually be. So, and then we also they look at too many other areas, export promotion. We look at helping with industries and we want can for kind established in this country for produce waiting we self need, and also for see how then we will send some of waiting they produce for going to other countries, and we look at a couple of other things. We look at waiting they happen at the produce sector, where in most cases we get people already buying at this country, then produce like cacao, cashew nut, coffee, ginger, etc., etc. We just try to create that kind of regulatory framework we go allow say them able to do that kind of business very, very well. We look at almost all aspects around regional integration. We just get one ECOWAS meeting where we discuss waiting we're able to for make we create a kind of logistics chain within the WAMSI zone, the West African Monetary Zone, for see how we'll see create the logistics where we make goods and they come off from one WAMSI country, they go another WAMSI country within a very short time, and also where like the costs will also be very, very reduced. So that's some of the things in the world they take a look at the Ministry of Trade and Industry.
Okay. Let me look at which are some of the challenges then, we come first as Minister of Trade. We take up this ministry. What are some of the challenges then we identified?
Well, first, the ministry not being get the kind of structure we go make and be very responsive to some of the emerging functions. Say trade and thing with the change, and particularly as technology they come, we get new trade things and where they come up with. We really need for get a structure we will be responsive to them. We don't sign a number of agreements them with other countries, them with even within Africa, West Africa, with the continental free trade. So you get things and where they come up, where the ministry for get a kind of structure, we go make sure say we're able to address a number of the issues them we need for day on top. So where I come, that structure not been there. We call a retreat, we take a look at what we will do for restructure the ministry. And now we don't see say some of the things that we not been they pay attention to as a country. With this new structure, we try for pay more attention to them thing in there. Trade not to just for buy and sell. If we're able to produce. And say the raw materials and they in this country, Boku. We get timber, we get cacao, we get coffee, we get palm oil, we produce, we rest small. But in most cases you realize say most of which we produce in this country. Even with the minerals, the fisheries, now sell no more, they sell them bulk. One begin see how we'll come up with a very strong trade policy, back come up with some kind of legislation. We're going to ensure say which will they produce in this country, we will do value addition to it. When we do that value addition and we will create jobs for people them, when we will make some of the money we other people them they make out of them value addition, and then other country them and go they back in this country and go able increase revenue and go able to make sure say we substitute some of the things that we can normally they import, because then one big disadvantage. If you in a country you na already they consume na other country no more in the come out, then you go really not say when a country it go difficult for develop. When a currency go always be determined by the kind of business where they happen in other country them, because you go notice say when a balance of trade when go there in deficit. When I go they buy more but they sell less. And until when I begin to value addition, look what thing we don't achieve in a couple of years we don't come. We don't get factories and now we actually they produce and they sell within West African region. You get paddy, for instance, the factory where they come, they produce vegetable oil where we not been get before. And Kisi oil back where they produce vegetable oil. Now if you go within the West African region, a good number of the country them where they within West Africa, they sell them products in there. We by some large extent don't really help for ease the burden we can normally get even for able get forex.
Okay.
So when and go sell, they're able to secure forex for we and bring come. And then vegetable oil, we say mean they import now, we don't become a net exporter of vegetable oil. So you see all in and they really they help the country economy for growth. And normally the challenge is beaucoup, but I want believe say some of them key challenges we women face. The fact say we not been they talk with the private sector as a government. We don't come, we don't begin establish private sector, public-private sector dialogue where all the people them where they into business, the manufacturer them, the one that where they import, the one that where they do different kind businesses. Now we they engage them. We they know which are the challenges, the issues around taxes. We they see how we all come around and deal with most of the major challenges within the face. So you realize now, then segment as a private sector, don't get so much confidence in waiting government they try to do for create that kind of enabling environment.
Okay. That's not the other question where I just want to ask you that, you know, how una as government don't create, because una mandate now for create an enabling environment wherein everybody can come and do in business. So how that we don't be create for now?
We don't do a lot with that. You know, we get the financial acts and we don't come. We look at a couple of tax concessions where they give people the one can establish factory then. And for tell you, we can give data on how many factories that we don't establish. We don't establish 2 flour mill them. We then don't, I mean the one day in operation Sierra Leone flour mill, we've been done long time ago. You don't see, you don't revive and don't begin produce flour and people and they use them. In fact, you didn't notice say now the amount of flour would import in this shrink. We get also Sonoko, where not only they can establish a flour mill, then they can also establish a bakery line production. So all them bakery equipment them, we then can use for mixed flour, for baked flour, all then go begin the produce on there. And trust me, not only we then go for the selling to, then go for the selling to other countries and within West Africa. Okay. Then we don't get 2 big companies and now where they refine crude palm oil into vegetable oil, Joel actually mentioned, and the Kisi oil. Then we don't get companies that we want come. They do recycling of scrap metals. Thing we will not be known to do. You notice say all we will be known to do now for take all the scrap metals and sell and then carry on other continent
go to
India. Go recycle.
Yeah.
But now we don't get companies that we don't show interest and we don't engage them for see how we will do agreements with them so that then companies and they go able to come in, settle, begin recycle scrap metals and the possibility for make them even begin extract iron from the iron ore and day. Okay. So we look into all of that and try to see how we really go able to set up that kind of environment for them, for make them can establish. Remember, most of them thing there, not boku money now you need for make them able to come.
Yeah.
So you get to create some kind of attractive conditions for them. We go able to make them come, they establish, and once they establish and begin produce, then create jobs. Later, then begin pay some of the taxes. We really go able change the economic narrative in this country. Okay.
Well, Fambul is still with the program Business Focus, and we deal with the Minister of Trade, and we discuss and dilate on some of the things and so on I need for know, you know, because sometimes the people that go to wrong information say so. So you get the opportunity today, and yourself for pay attention and listen to the things that we say. You said can be part of the program by way you go send your text message on the program. Winner 077 79 32 60. We still there with the minister and we go continue with discussion. Let me look at me and you go attest say Salon now one country where you come into price control now one way very difficult because the government can always say they're not a businessman. They just create the environment for let people then come. So for determining price now one week in very difficult at times. So let me look at how the ministry in terms of controlling price of some of the commodities because when you go now in a market, people then go tell you say so. how witness some of the structures where the ministry will don't put in place for CC unable for talk to the one where they count and commodities.
Well, a couple of things and they will don't put in place. First of all, we get price control in the country. People they say price control no they. I mean, I think say they can misunderstand and maybe they get their own concept where they associate with price control.
Okay.
We're not a country where go come, we say okay, even though the goods them where the people them they go buy from other country, now mostly for instance 5,000 euros, as a government will say no, oh I don't buy on 5,000 euros, I cancel and I have 3,000 euros. Not to that kind of thing they would do. They work closely with the private sector. We understand the dynamics we involved for make them go bring canned goods them at this country. We know within the cost of the goods them be. We know within at the freights. We also know within at the margins. We all sit down together through the discussions and we will determine within at the price. We do at the petroleum sector. When they see for the first time, 2 times consecutively, we will reduce the petrol price, the petroleum products price. Today, 9,000 and come down to 8,500 and come down to 7,000. So, waiting that they tell you that we judge the price based on the global price.
Okay.
If somebody come on and go buy goods and come with them and pay transport for them, I mean pay shipment for them, what they call freight, and come now, we all the can sit down, we determine, we look at the margin and try for determine what will be the price. We do them for almost all the essential commodities. Rice, vegetable oil, fish, we do them for cement, we do them for a couple of them. But of course, we reach a point where we realize, say, where COVID start, government come in through intervention as Ministry of Trade and working closely with the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Sierra Leone. We try to create a pause because we may not say COVID get the potential for unbog the economy. So as a government, we decide say we go provide some amount of money, which was 500 billion leons, where we give to importers of essential commodities. And you notice say even with COVID being really the ravage, when they get them locked down and they still commodities be available. Even now, as I tell you, we get sufficient commodities within the market system.
Okay.
And you realize, say, because freights them, don't they go up? We don't find ourselves in a situation where, for certain commodities, the freights them don't even triple. For instance, for take one container, 40-feet container, Chadaway going to cost you $4,000 from China to Sierra Leone. Now it's gone close to $15,000. And as now under the B, you'd expect, say, all and the impact prices.
Yeah, sure.
So even though globally certain commodities and the way them price are not changed, but because the transportation, the freight, way now the money way the importer they pay for bringing the goods them from the countryside by to Sierra Leone, you don't know to say definitely that they go get for impact price. So if you take a look at what they happen even with freight for cement, today now been $20 in the pay for 1 metric ton. 1 metric ton are about 50 bags of cement. Now they're paying between $41 to $42 for 1 metric ton for just the freight, for just shipment. You realize, say, the freight alone don't increase by 100+%. We dey try to manage all that in there, and that make the engagement between government and the private sector. We dey continue and ensure, say, even where all that in there they be, the impact on prices not going to be so huge.
Okay.
You see, cement today the wholesale, we I mean they imported, them they sell at around 62,000, 63,000, 64,000.
Yeah.
And then the Dangote them they sell at around 60,000.
Okay.
But because of all the increase in freight, you realize, say, the price don't increase. Some people they even expect, say, the price will increase more than that.
Okay.
But with the engagement we go with the private sector, and the facts of, say, some of them changes there we don't see, we just speculate, say, and go be in the short term, That make you see we dey try for see how we dey also encourage the private sector for make them bear with the people them where they buy them produce them. So that even when the price they go up, the price don't go up that kind way they will really go mourn at people them bad one.
Okay.
You look at what they happen with all the commodities. If you go to Liberia, price of rice is far higher than what you would sell in this country.
Okay.
You look at what they happen with petroleum products as well. We own petrol now, 1 liter still they go at 8,500. If you go to Guinea, it's around 9,000 going to 10,000. If you go to Liberia, it's almost the same. So you realize, say, because of the kind of engagement we'll get with the private sector, because of the other leverage them what they give them for make we really able to soften the ground for them. You don't see say, the engagement what they get with even the port operators. We don't call the port operators them. We don't look at them processes. We don't look at them charges. We try to talk to them for see at this time how we were able to manage and reduce the charges so that all now and then no go help for increase the price. And you notice say them products one are available and two the price is still they within a range way far better than any other country within West Africa.
Okay. Let me look at another very important issue. Now, we plenty people they look at they find out where now the substandard of some of the goods within the Canada country. One, you go look at you know at one time they bring some sugar where they may say they below standard, and you know so many other items and they win our foodstuffs and stuff. The rice where they kick out some day we can pull cents, some day we know that's. You know, that's much to waiting people didn't expect. You know, and first time we will see say trade ministry we get our column the trade monitors when they go on the market for go ask for them things and see how best they do. We know say we get standard bureau, but you know now they supervise some of them agency then they how the ministry they go about that for make sure say substandard goods them not in the markets.
Well, yes, you're very right because we really care about first the health of we people them, and then two, we care about value for money. You're not going to go pay for something we're not to the correct quality, we're not to the correct measurement. So what would they try for doing this? We get with trade monitors them, but I tell you, we've been getting around 100 trade monitors with them recruit. Over time, some done they die, some done they left the job. So right now we get around 70-something trade monitors for cover the whole country. Now that make where I come and meet the consumer protection bill. I try for fast term, complete term, and try for take it to parliament. Now parliament don't ratify it, the presidents have don't sign. We try for form what we call the Consumer Protection Commission.
Okay.
We really go can now work closely with Standards Bureau for see how then go able to make sure say they're able to stand for the consumers them, they're able to protect the interest of the consumers them, and then get the mandate because the thing now na a law, not to no longer a bill. Now na a law. Say anybody will sell any of the products them where either the value not correct, either the quality not good, or the amount we they sell, you they try for cut panam so that you will make some more profit. Now that one then a crime in this country.
Okay.
Once the consumer protection law don't pass and they're able to determine say you involved in some of them kind rikishi business practice then they trust me the law will come behind you and then go handle you. Once we set up the commission, in fact with Japan engagement now with the Ministry of Finance for see how we be able to form the basic structures of that commission there, so that then will begin operate towards the mid of this year. You go realize say once we achieve that one day, a number of the problems then what would they get. Not forget we get Boku people them where they do good business, but you also get some few where really feel say the only way they go do business is through rogue. I mean, then go buy substandard products and we all know how in they impact people. Then. Look, years back, one also then try for build with some substandard building materials then we collapse. We all know how many people then died there and we know how much that one day be mean to even the economy. So we no one see them kind of thing they happen.
Okay.
So that make you see, we dey try for bring come in private capital as well within Standards Bureau, so that then people then we get money where one can invest, will get an opportunity to can invest in the quality and standard infrastructure, build for instance standard laboratories them, where then we're able to check some of the materials and where they come inside the country, we'll be able to determine the quality, we'll be able to set standards on measurement, and we also they go through with the metrication process.
Okay.
Where Standards Bureau don't already get a framework where they don't need for do the rollout. So by the time we do all of them in there, even in the produce sector, we get a produce monitoring board. We don't work very, very closely with the one where they make, where they produce, then we agricultural produce them.
Okay.
For show them how, for instance, you were able to cut you produce, you cacao, for instance, how you were able to dry them, how the quality go be good, and how you were able to attract good money for them. So all that thing and they go on, and I want believe say, you know, when meeting not done they in place, sometimes it will be difficult for make when I able put boku of them thing and they together. But gradually, I want believe say, we go towards that point where the Standards Bureau will become a very efficient institution. We will be able to deliver on standards and quality requirements in this country. Then we also don't forget the Consumer Protection Commission. We will come really good to go out there now for really ensure say when come on price, when come on quality, the consumers then really get value for waiting and they put the money back.
Okay. Fumble is still with the program, and I believe say you said they follow the discussion, and I know say you they really enjoy the discussion, and you don't hear use some of the things where the minister don't say on this issue of the trade, the business, and the country. So as I tell you earlier, you will be part of the program by way you will send a comment or text message on the number winner 077 793 or if you're there out in the watch we, you go do them on we Start TV Facebook Live on the platform where you the watch. So, well, Minister, let me continue with discussion. We notice so many times there are so many factories, you know, so many companies and where they come, especially like the one where they produce this alcohol. People they don't need gumbo, but so many times, you know, some of the products where they come, you know, good for the youths them, you know, good for the people because they use some substances them where they're not supposed for you. So, like, how I can go about for check some of them particular products here? We will talk about quality. How then they able for deliver?
Well, this is not a very dicey thing. We don't come meet some of them factories and they established. We dey monitor the processing or SOP then the thing that we can do na them factory and they for produce some of them products.
Yeah.
We don't dey notice say some of them not compliant, and we dey take punitive measures for make sure say something and then I engage you get for engage them for make you then able understand say we get full disclosure of what you they do, which kind of material they use, the concentration of the alcohol when they put inside and drinks them, all anything and they we get a factory inspectorate where they work closely with Ministry of Labor Day for ensure say we able monitor some of them thing and the waiting they do. We dey try for set with standards around how much alcohol for the inside the different products. Of course, it happens say for some people alcohol no good, but for some people they just cannot do without alcohol. Waiting we dey try for do, and in fact where the consumer protection come in, not definitely for can set standards them where we not go allow these certain products and they get more than a certain percentage of alcohol inside.
Okay.
Because we realize say in some instances we all know say alcohol in a thing way they make people then get addicted to them. So waiting some companies can do, they can even add more alcohol than waiting in the state by them product. So we get for do some effective monitoring of all them products and therefore make sure say what you don't put on your label say now this now the kind composition of the product you get and be exactly within the inside the bottle. May not go they say one thing on the label then a different thing there inside the bottle. So we get a number of them approaches in there, but we do the engagements, we try for educate them on waiting, now their responsibility, and then we get for reach a point we say the compliance they can.
Okay.
Once we get to that point, I want to believe say a number of them we really they engage in some of them practices and they either see reason for stop or we try to get them out of business. But I also want to make you understand, say, we get also other products and where they come out from other countries. And some of them are smuggling.
Yeah,
and the issue around smuggling, I think me and you go agree, say, Ministry of Trade no more no go with it. And require the broader government infrastructure
everybody
for
on board.
The military, the one where they take care of the border, then we all come, we sit down. But you go also realize, even when all now and they be, just because of the level of porosity of the borders, sometimes we will still find it difficult for even curb some of them.
Okay.
Because the border are not only land borders, you also get borders by sea.
Yeah.
And some people then can come with products in the middle of the night. We all know some of them.
On their boats, they are far.
So you see that make we take the lead, and we'll try to see how we bring other government agencies them. For instance, the National Security Office and the police, the military, and other border control agencies them for see what to be able to for cop some of them. But definitely we they ask for challenges. That one and they all are some of the key challenges that we will face.
Okay, Minister, let me look at another sector. We don't say una get plenty now on hand, and a broad sector una the deal with. Let me look at the health aspect, the medical side. We don't see some pharmacies in the country. They count some product there, just like how they talk about the substandard product. They count some medicine, even like the issue of tramadol. Pharmacies that they sell them to people that they not prescribe to them. So how best the ministry they work with the pharmacy board for make sure say they stop for those some of them things regulation would they for do them here?
Well, actually, there is a ministry where they work with the pharmacy board. That's the Ministry of Health and Sanitation.
Okay.
But nonetheless, since not trade issues,
yes,
we also get links with the ministry, so with the pharmacy board. The pharmacy board, just like the Standards Bureau, instead we get a couple of challenges. For make you able do an analysis of certain drugs and where they come in, you need a certain level of sophistication of your analytical machines them for able to really get the results them where you go need. But by and large, amidst of all the challenges, I think say the pharmacy board with the little way they get, with some of the equipment and where they get when they do the tests, at least in the try for make sure say any drug will come out, will cross the border, come inside, they're able to do the test and able to certify and say this is not good drugs. You get to understand say still the issue of smuggling is still really pervasive na the sub-region. Not to even Sierra Leone problem.
Sure.
It's across all countries within the sub-region.
Yeah.
So then kind of thing they possible and they happen. With tramadol, of course, the position of the pharmacy board on then na drugs we not only they only go supposed for selling you on prescription.
Yeah, sure.
So but you get also the some of them rogue pharmacies them, some of them really not even register. We can take on themselves or they sell some of them narcotics in there, some of them contraband drugs in there. And I believe say the pharmacy board and the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, they really work very closely for see how they will come up with a strategy for control some of them.
Okay. Family is still with the program and we will continue with more discussion. As I tell you, you said we'll send you comments now with Facebook Live, Start TV Live, and or you do them on SMS where now 077 793260. Today we're there with the Minister of Trade and we will discuss issue around trade and business in the country. Minister, let me look at another very important issue about the the supermarkets them the country and expired goods. So many times in the way we don't see so many expired goods in the coming side, and most of them goods in the, are from supermarkets. Then we can see them. One I know will name them, but there is a time when them don't look one particular supermarket because it sell some expired goods. How best like you monitor some of the supermarkets there around town?
Well, a couple of supermarkets and they really do very well. I mean, if you take, for instance, Freetown Mall, you take other supermarkets, this one where they open a hill station, you notice, say, some of them goods, them, of course, have now one of the areas in that way one high quality goods, them you can go. You get a couple of them where some of them can try for comply with some of the very rules them way for keep them inside business.
Okay.
You also get some of them where just deliberately they find ways. I mean, because for some people, when something don't expire, for 2 years. In fact, I mean, nobody no way will go see product that don't expire and buy them. So you have some rogue businesses where you go still try for attempt for either change the expiry date. We know of all the internet. But like I tell you, I mean, what would they get with the trade monitors them? They necessarily try, they go out in the market. They're not boku, but then they try as much as possible. They also go for, but honestly, with the Consumer Protection Act, USAI will get laws them where really they bet some of them internet. We have laws in the Consumer Protection where they fine you up to 500 million loans and possibly go jail for a very long period of time. So our belief say if we get, then if we once we get the consumer protection and then we get the commission running, our belief say it will really help for curb the internet. May I tell you one thing, in most countries or not even in Sierra Leone here, you get companies where always they try for fight against compliance.
Okay.
I mean, naturally, not part of their own business tactics for able to make profit. But I believe saying that make we get the laws them, and then we get the institutions and we make sure say we monitor them. So with the Consumer Protection Commission, we try to put together, and one belief say,
They will come back.
I mean, it will go a long way because we can't forget people that really represent consumers on that commission. So it will go a long way for really deal with some of the challenges.
Okay, well, Fambo, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we will continue with the program. Fambo, welcome again to the program, and thank you for taking time and they watch the program. Well, we don't come up from that short break there. We still continue with the discussion and around the trade in the country. Minister, as we try to wrap up the program now, you know, within the years that we don't take now the trade ministry, what are some of the successes that where you point out and say, well, now some of the things in this way you don't do for stabilize the business sector in the country?
Well, we get a number of achievements where as a ministry we don't really make. One, for instance, restructuring. We I mean the first thing we have been coming see I say, I mean if we get a ministry where you not get a structure, we're responsive to some of the key issues then we get for do with trade and industry, we really need for do that and then restructure. So we don't restructure the ministry, we don't get a new structure, we don't work on a couple of policies where really very important for able to develop industry particularly. We don't do the agro-processing policy. We don't put in place a number of things that we will address people that we want to go into agro-processing. For instance, then we want to process palm oil, then we want to process other agricultural produce them, fish, meat, protein, all that thing. We don't do a document where really therefore speak to within government they try for do for regulate that sector, which kind of support would they give companies that we want to come into that sector.
Okay.
They see a number of our processing companies and now we don't really make so much impact on the economy. Take for instance Sokfin, where now they produce huge amount of palm oil, and not only they produce the palm oil, they get a big mill where really the capacity don't go. In fact, the biggest mill in the whole of West Africa where they process now palm oil. You talk about Gold Tree, we were there yesterday with them, we engaged them and foresee which kind of support the government will give them. We even want to do an agreement with them. We get Myro Forestry, for instance. We also with the palm work an agreement with them. We really go ensure say they come and grow trees. Then not only they can cut, we take them, then they grow trees and then they process the trees them into furniture, into different kinds in them, where they go sell inside this country and sell outside the country. So we also get them one them way they where they into the fruits. We get a whole farm now very close to Lunge, where they produce vegetables them and where they send them go to Europe.
Okay.
And we also don't get another company where one for kind of process green then leafy vegetables for selling go to Europe, America and some other markets. So you really see say because of all that kind of thing that I would try to do with agro-processing, more and more people they show interest and huge investment on they come into that. Waiting down they do and they make sure say we get access to markets and also they make the farmer way when they grow in crop, when they get better money, when they see say really agriculture and a business, then don't begin see as in they produce, then get people where they can buy.
Wow.
And that one they impact very, very nicely on the economy. We don't look at the cooperatives we almost don't die. We try for revive and back. I don't come with a review the whole cooperative policy and very soon at the Kango cabinet. And then we also look at the legislation we establish the cooperatives. We get small groups where they operate as cooperative, either as agricultural cooperatives or trade cooperatives. We get one them within a credit union them where they put like then Osusu. We get teachers then a different part of the country where they put their money. Now when you check some of them, their capital don't go, their assets don't go well over 2 billion euros. When a strong indication say we can able support businesses at then lower level than they, so that the people themselves will able get access to finance and we will get money for do their own businesses. We don't do the Munafa fund, where they give finance to small and medium enterprises at a very, very minimal interest. The interest is 9%.
Okay.
And we don't design them in a way we do an operational manual where they guide the entire process. And right now, boku business people then don't begin get money from that Munafa fund for do business. And government don't commit itself because of waiting. We don't waiting. They don't commit. We don't commit. Say every year we put money more into that Munafa fund, so that the Munafa fund they become a revolving fund.
They rotate.
I go to Cambia one time. I meet one businesswoman and they explain the challenges when they get for finance, and go to one microcredit group we get 15 million, and that microcredit group in the ask and say every month for 12 months and for return 2,262,000.
Wow.
When you calculate that, the interest rate is far above 80%. It's like almost head for head. Somebody give 2 loans, you get 4 loans. That they kill with businesses. That they make even with business people and they run away from outside and they.
Okay.
We don't want to make that one they happen. So imagine now what they give somebody 10 million for do business. The interest for the whole year na 900,000. And you need to pay at once. You pay as small, take that kind of thing they don't. We don't do agreements with different companies where I don't just mention. We get 2 agreements with oil processing company, 2 agreements with flour milling companies. We get an agreement. We don't open up the petroleum sector, the downstream sector. Now we don't bring come a player, and we don't increase the storage capacity by over 60,000 metric tons.
Wow.
We also do the jetty, the second jetty, the old jetty where we don't they try for refurbishment, so that where boats and they come with oil, petroleum products they know one not going to need for team up on the high sea. They wait for us to make this one at discharge.
Yeah.
Then we will able get access. 2 boats now we will can and discharge at the same time.
Wow.
We work with the Ministry of Finance and other agencies, NRA. They look at some of the taxes, because we now they feel the heartbeat of the business people. If anything they pinch them too much when it comes and tax business, now they take the lead. And you don't see what we don't do even with the Financial Act. Certain taxes and they will don't help for negotiate downwards a little bit so that we will make the private sector thrive, create the jobs that we need for create, and also in the future bring come more revenue. We don't take a look at what's in the happen with industry. Like I tell you, industry policy been weak. We try for review them. We don't able to get money from UNECA, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, for make they able support the review of that industry policy. And we also develop the special economic zone policy and the legislation. Okay. Right now, we've been getting consultants in almost a month ago. They don't get stakeholder engagements. The first draft of the special economic zone policy, they come out maybe by next week. And then we go get for do the validation and see how we will finally adopt them. And then we'll get for see how we will develop the industrial policies all over this country. So when you take a look at within the Ministry of Trade they do right now, we not only they look at trade, we also they try to put more muscle by industry. Because if we fail for produce, even with all the market opportunities we don't get, we now get a number of companies now where they export into other West African countries. And the Continental Free Trade Agreement we don't get, we will all, of course, from where I come, I've been deeply involved. In fact, some forum then they with a meeting and they bid and they refer to some of we as the champions of the Continental Free Trade Agreement. We don't make sure say we open more markets, and that make you see the factory them way we try for build up. I am ready to look at any investment where they go towards developing factories, developing industries.
Okay.
I want to believe say if we go that way, this country in future will therefore be good, and we will provide enough jobs for we population, and the revenue in the long run will therefore really boost. And I believe that the economy will begin to do very well.
Well, I don't know if I not ask you this question. One thing we plenty, I can say Sierra Leoneans, they look frown at the local content. Local content means giving an opportunity for less Sierra Leoneans based in Sierra Leone, be able to establish their business. They say that opportunity they're not there for them. Instead, foreigners can be given more preference than the locals.
Well, under my leadership and under this regime, it has not been like that.
Okay.
In fact, we thereby engage with the indigenous businesses, the indigenous investment. We get a number of Sierra Leoneans we really support in ways we themselves being say we not only get them kind of support there from other government. Take a look at the work what they do with Sierra Leone Flour Mill. We've been shut down for a very long time. We take over. We don't do an agreement with them. We don't able to try to see how we deal with them, bio them. Now they don't begin produce flour back. Then one clear evidence, and it's owned by a Sierra Leonean.
Yeah.
Take a look at Rashid Conte. We don't come establish a factory in a bowl where they process cassava into gari and different other products. We income, we sit down to them, we talk with them, and we need land and we need support for engage other people them way, like the farmers that will go produce the cassava. Right now, he's doing magic and almost they install the factory there. I get a number of other indigenous businesses where we really don't engage and really don't get some support from government. So look at the Monafa Fund where we don't establish. That one they go 100% to only Sierra Leoneans. I mean, at an interest rate we're so encouraging. If we continue that program, the recovery rate very good. Government continue to put money into that fund every year. Trust me, you go see say not only small and medium enterprises and get for benefit, even the large enterprises also get for benefit. So when you take a look at some of them in there, you really realize say an issue where most people, and of course the local content agency we deal with we work with them very closely for make sure say them big companies where they come, they're able to make Sierra Leoneans also be part of the businesses for make sure say they're able to supply certain produce, and etc. etc. So I don't believe say, I mean, we're doing well. Room there for improvement, but I believe say we're doing well and we're going to continue doing well.
Elfan you still with the program and we still continue with the discussion. But let me take a short break. We'll come back.
In today's world, trade is the largest of global markets supply chains, which includes competing brands, quality standards, movement of goods across borders, business regulations, cutting-edge skills and services. All these activities match up to make a difference. What is behind the headlines? What impact does it actually have on people's daily lives? How can we develop programs that will support countries to get ahead on trade? Trade activities are getting people to act on the agenda of improving trade globally. Agencies and development partners are supporting countries in their roadmaps for change. It's building strong foundations and helping governments bridge to more support. Business Focus takes a closer look at every step involved in the aspect of trade, from identifying, buying, selling, and distribution of goods and services to various parts of the world. Find out from the people themselves what is happening in their daily trading activities and how they go through the hurdles in achieving greatness, from the fields, factories, gardens, markets, and to the consumer.
Okay, Famo, welcome again. Minister, as you the close now, what's the message you want for GCL unions?
Well, we all don't see how COVID don't impact on the economy and on businesses in this country. I think so within as a government we try to do, we look now beyond COVID. We want to see within as some of the policies them and support what government they give to businesses. We go really ensure say they're able do well and compete with other businesses outside Sierra Leone. And that make you see even the support we give to the agro-processing companies. We don't deal with two cohorts of SMEs and when they're into agro-processing.
Okay.
We, through the World Bank, we don't provide training for them. We also don't give them grants for make them able move them business from one level to another level. Like for instance, we give them support for buy certain equipment and for support them production. So you really see say some of the impact on the companies, then they don't make either then double them production, then double the market space, etc. etc. Then we get other things them way we do around even the doing business. We don't just secure about $20 million from the World Bank for able do certain policy reforms them and legislative reforms them. We go improve on the doing business environment. For instance, some of the difficult things the way they are for do for able get property certificate. Say you don't register your property for able get construction permit. When are some of the challenges? This project, the economic diversification project, they actually come for see how we go do reforms around NTND for make we improve on the performance indicators in there. And the Ministry of Lands together with other ministries really they work with we. We see what we don't do. What come today, we meet EPA. If you want to do EIA license, they charge you and they charge you for especially the small businesses. It's very, very high. Now can we engage the EPA? We don't bring Camden license and they down.
Okay.
And small businesses now they pay some small money. They know they require them for doing and then elaborate EIA. They get the kind of requirements now when they do. When they make them they spend less money.
Okay.
So you see, with all what you see we do, we they pay attention per industry growth. We want to see how Sierra Leone will produce more and more and sell more and more to other countries.
Okay.
Because if we do so, we they make this country a hub and we will create jobs for people them. We will improve on the lives of our people them, and we will really stimulate economic growth. And we agriculture sector, like all they say, we get the potential, we get the land, we get the manpower. We talk about the youthful population, we talk about the gender population, the women them population high, and that then really that the serious mind them we can really want for go inside business.
Yeah.
If we make sure say we able set the correct policies then you will see how we will get economic transformation of this country.
Okay. Well, Fambul, Minister, I just want to say plenty thank you to you where you take your time for the inside the program. Now, Dr. Edward Inga Sandi, we na the Minister of Trade, and as we from the things and we don't say, you know, and he really determined for make sure say Sierra Leone be the hub for trade now the sub-region and even self, you know, other African countries and self for the admire within Sierra Leone they do in terms of, you know, trade. And as Udadoi, all from the discussions we don't say the plans and the things we don't do. We hope and pray that God will get the strength and for continue for do the good work them for the country. Well, we're going for a short break. Where we can will give now the forex to either the exchange rates. After that, we'll close the program. Well, Family, welcome again to the program. We say plenty thank you to Dr. Edward Inga Sandi, the Minister of Trade. As we don't talk to we inside the interview, what we don't do that today. You know, explain so many things and we have listened yourself within house, they watch the program, we don't understand exactly what they happen around the business sector in the country. Well, we're going now for the foreign exchange. As we know, say dollar, the pound sterling, and the euro. Now one way in the camp today go they up to my they down, you know, way steady. So let we go in and take the forex exchange for this week. When we come back, the program go continue. Family, that's when so we go bring on the cutting down of the program for today. And we say plenty thank you to the Minister of Trade, Dr. Edward Inga Sandi, as he don't be the guest today inside the program. And would I hear so many good things where he don't say for the trade sector in the country. Well, we pray that God will continue for give the strength and do the things we Sierra Leoneans go on for they do. Make out the program tonight today, Mina George Elliott Sam and my camera operator on me Samoa Kabo and my producers for this program now, Leonora Jawara and also Yesi Alloway and the executive producer now Mr. Philip Neville. Well, so till next week, Mina George Elliott Sam, they say tata and God bless you.
In today's world, trade is the largest of global markets supply chains, which includes competing brands, quality standards, movement of goods across borders, business regulations, cutting-edge skills and services. All these activities match up to make a difference. What is behind the headlines? What impact does it actually have on people's daily lives? How can we develop programs that will support countries to get ahead on trade? Trade activities are getting people to act on the agenda of improving trade globally. Agencies and development partners are supporting countries in their roadmaps for change. It's building strong foundations and helping governments bridge to more support. Business Focus takes a closer look at every step involved in the aspect of trade, from identifying, buying, selling, and distribution of goods and services to various parts of the world. Find out from the people themselves what is happening in the daily trading activities and how they go through the hurdles in achieving greatness, from the fields, factories, gardens, markets, and to the consumer.